Hello, my name is Alistair. I am in Year 11 at Burscough Priory. Was due to complete my GCSE exams in sort of May, June time. However, those have since been cancelled and I'm awaiting alternative arrangements. Do I prefer tea, coffee or other? Well, I don't like tea. I think it's too weak. No such thing as a strong tea. Do I like coffee? No, that's too strong. And I'd be so hyperactive on the caffeine that I'd be hanging from the light fittings. Other, I like some hot chocolates, but I like quite a Cadbury's instant sort of hot chocolate. Nothing sort of artisan or anything fancy from like Starbucks or anything. That's not my stuff. To be honest, what I like to have in like a mug situation would be milk. Okay, so why this mug? So I have a mug here. I don't know if it's, oh, it's backwards. That's no good. So for those of you who can't read backwards, and I'd like to meet someone who can, it says Destiny on the top and Ali Critch will become legend. So Destiny is a game. This is a game. And I'm old enough now to play it. When I received this mug, I wasn't. Ali Critch is my Xbox name and will become legend. Me and my dad both play this game and he is by far miles better than me at it, and so he bought me this for my birthday to say one day you'll become as good as me, which is irritating. What is my favourite biscuit? Very good question. I think it'd have to be one of two things, either a chocolate digestive, because of course, or one of those Marks and Spencer's chocolate marshmallow tea cake situations. When it gets to Easter, how will you eat your Cadbury's cream egg? The way I eat it is remove the foil, obviously, and at the top there's usually a slight split because the chocolate sort of shell is made up of two pieces and that's normally sort of come apart slightly. So you stick your teeth into that, you incise it into that, pull it apart, you get two halves, and most of the sort of sugary, creamy inside stuff is in one half. So you then take out the creamy stuff and eat it, and then do it from the other side, and then enjoy the Cadbury's dairy milk on its own. It's like two whole different meals. It's the only way that I can recommend. The next question, what's been the worst thing about Lent in lockdown? Probably that it's been even more difficult to give something up. I must be honest, I'm hopeless at giving something up for Lent, but anything that I would have given up has now become more essential over lockdown because you feel more dependent on material things like, you know, food and Xbox and whatever else it may be, television, and giving that up in lockdown, it can be quite tricky, especially in the winter, because it's not like we can go outside, you know, it's dark and it's cold and it might be snowy and icy. Whereas if it were in the summer, we could all go outside and, you know, spend time outdoors and distract ourselves from the fact that we can't have a sip of Coca-Cola for the next 40 days. So that's probably been the most difficult thing about it. If COVID and lockdown were to end tomorrow, oh, that sounds wonderful. What would you do first? What would I do first? I think I'd want to go abroad immediately because I think this is, oh, and this sounds so entitled, but this has been the second year without a holiday abroad and I think we've all really missed it because it's really nice escapism when you go abroad, and we go to America, that's our place, and we've missed it a lot. And we have friends in France who we miss dearly, of course. But then also we're a family who like big gatherings, and I think we've missed that, particularly over Christmas. We all get together in massive groups, and we miss that heavily this year. Easter celebrates what Jesus did for us. What do you thank Jesus for? My family, my friends, the place in which I live, the time in which I was born, literally everything in the world ever, both, as the creed says, seen and unseen. I thank Jesus for, admittedly perhaps not as much as I should, but I'd like to think that I do it regularly enough. Tell us how you came to faith in Jesus. Well, I was born into going to church. When I was born, my mum was looking for a new church. She'd been to a different church that was much more disciplined and she decided she wanted to change, and I came along and I presented the opportunity of change, and so she came to St. John's, and so I just grew up in St. John's, and that's how I was introduced to it. And then the point at which I made the decision to start coming to church of my own accord, because when you're a child you're made to, however at a point of sort of 11, 12, 13 I made the decision that yeah, I'm going to come because I want to. I had a very long and quite emotionally labouring chat with one of the former curates at our church, and it was at that point I decided to start going to church, and at the end of said conversation I burst into tears, which is something that I don't do very often. I'm a little bit repressed in that sense, and yeah, so that caught me by surprise, and I felt that was a sign that I needed to start going to church. What difference does Jesus make to your life? Well, he makes a massive difference. It's, number one, sort of the feeling of support. It's, imagine if you're just a person in the world, and you've got one leg. You feel inherently unbalanced, and that a small knock could send you keeling over. But if you've got 2 feet, and one of those feet is Jesus, the firm foundation, as the parable would say in a much more eloquent way that I'm doing right now, that firm foundation that keeps you strong, that the same knock would not set you off in such a way. So it's the support, I just think that Christianity as a religion is a really beautiful thing, both materially in the fact that we have beautiful church buildings and beautiful monuments and things, but also which are all very important to the faith, of course, but also beautiful in the sense of people coming together, the people themselves, the community, the things that the community make. I think it's all really important, and I think that it's a really important thing for communities in England and the world. That I think it's something really unique that we have that's really wonderful. So, Easter is a time of new hope. What is your hope and prayer for Burscough this Easter? My hope is that the church grows in number and in spirituality, as my hope has always been and always will be. I pray and hope for the Church of England's great revival. I hope that will come one day, and I'm sure it will. But I hope that post-lockdown that gives a lot of people the chance to reflect on what not being at church was like, and how perhaps they missed it. But also for people who weren't Christians, they think, well, maybe those Christians encountered lockdown in a different way. I want to see what that's like.